It's pizza time. The super spring vibes continue, bringing you another super fresh pie today, showcasing the best that spring has to offer. I got some fava beans that were looking really fresh. I was like, gotta figure out a way to get them on a pizza. I'm doing a fava bean and bacon pizza, along with some fire Mozz cherry tomatoes. I was like thinking, man, why do I never use fava beans? Really, it's like they're a little bit of a chore to prep. I don't know if you work with them, but you know, it's like you get the big favas. What you gotta do, peel them, and then they get blanched, chilled, and then peeled again. So it's a little bit of work, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have a bomb pizza. I also rendered down some bacon. I just did this like maybe like a 50% cook. Took out, because I like the bacon a little bit crispy on the pizza. You know, I think that's a good way to go. Save the fat from the bacon, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to brush the bottom of the pizza with that. That's what I got here. You know, I'm going to use some olive oil too, but a little base of the bacon fat on the bottom. Headies for sure. Got some shallots and garlic diced up. Going to put that on the bottom, along with some fresh Mozz and Parm. Going to all ride on some freshy, heady, natty sourdough crust. Let's get this thing built and into the oven. I got it preheating. I like my deck around 850, shooting for like around a 3-minute bake. That's just how I like it, but bake how you like. Let's get this thing built and into the oven. Pizza time. Pizza time, starting to build this super fresh spring pie. You can tell it's spring around here too because that breeze is blowing, so bear with me if there's any little bit of audio issues. Oh, see, I caught there's a little bubble. That's gonna expand into huge bubbles in the oven. Always want to watch that. I'm starting with the base of the rendered bacon fat. Always save that, never toss it because it's headies. Gonna go next with the shallots and garlic on the bottom. I always like to put this type of stuff towards the bottom because it'll burn in there, and burnt garlic is kind of not all that pleasant of a flavor, so you want to keep it fresh and bright. Keep it on the bottom there. You know, it bakes kind of a little bit into the crust and perfumes it. Super bomb for sure. Get that on there, making sure nothing gets on the marble. That's how things stick. Got that on. I'm gonna go hit it with the fresh mozzarella, the mozz. I'm breaking these up, always starting from the outside, working in, just depending on how big they are. Either break them up into 2 or 3. Like that one looks a little fatty, might break that up a little bit. For these white pies, I'm not as concerned about that like more splotched look that you want on a red sauce pie if you're doing kind of like a, you know, Neapolitan or whatever you want to call it type pizza. That's looking pretty good. Maybe one little extra guy there because I got the parm. This is the headies, the legit, the OG. Ain't no Schwinkelbop parm on a pizza like this. You know, but you can shake from that can if you want, but for a pie like this, I like to keep it fire most. Headband all day, get this thing loaded up. All right, I think now I'm gonna go, let's do the favas. I mean, these are just super simple. Like I said, they're kind of a chore to prep, but you know, it's a way to celebrate spring. I'm gonna go pretty big on this. I was thinking too, it would be super fun to do this kind of style pie. You could go gluten-free and just forget about the dough altogether and just fire these, the favas with some bacon just on a cast iron pan in the Ooni. I think that would be probably a dank side dish. I'd get into it for sure. Something to think about. Okay, that looks, you know, that's maybe a bit many. I'd just going big today. Let's hit it with the cherry tomatoes. I got the whole rainbow again on here. I just saw too, I got a little bit of water from the favas onto the marble. Definitely want to make sure I get that cleaned off before I try and load this pie, because if that gets underneath your dough, gonna have a bad time. That's when it sticks and you can have issues getting into the oven. We'll just going big on this one. All right, that's looking really good. Now the bacon. You know, fava beans and bacon, that's a good combo. Like I said, I kind of par cooked it because I like it a little crispy and I wanted some of that bacon fat. But you can go just put it on straight, like, you know, cured raw style. If you like it a little softer, pancetta would work too. That looks pretty good. I think I'm going to do a little drizz of olive oil on top. I'm going to hit it with some pepper too. And always, you know, even with the bacon on there, I still want some salt. Make sure all the moisture's off the marble. Gonna get this thing loaded up and let's watch this thing bake. Getting this thing all loaded up into the Ooni. Oh, a little bit of stickage here. Getting it on the peel. One last final stretch. Get this thing in the oven. I just checked the deck is at 850. Like I said, that's where I like to bake. A little sticky on here. I'm still kind of learning this peel a little bit. I don't know. Get this thing all loaded up. All right, get this thing baking, get that timer going. All right, we're going. Not too much action. I loaded it a little bit deep in there. I don't know. I actually like it a little bit closer forward just to make sure I don't burn it. You want to be extra careful, especially in that back left area. That's really hot. Always use your gun if you have one to check that temp. If you don't have one, I would definitely recommend, till you learn the oven, you got to just like feel it out. I got this thing down most of the way. I'm actually going to even crank it down even more. I like a little bit longer bake, maybe in like the 3-minute range. Puffing up really good. We're about 45 seconds. I got a little lag starting it, so maybe closer to a minute. Probably gonna go in here for a turn. I don't have the turning peel, but just kind of working it with this one. Putting it back in, maybe move it a little bit away from that corner. You gotta be really careful too. If that dough hasn't set, it can stick. So, you know, work safe, work quick. We're up to 110 now, looking pretty good. Got some leopardine, a little bit of brownie. Maybe it was a little close to the flame there on the load. Go back in for another spin here. Looking really good. This is day 2 on the fermentation on this. It's a naturally fermented dough. I'm working on my dough recipe to get that out there for all of you. Make sure it works really good in this oven. I kind of like, you know, this is like my artisan style, for lack of a better term. Just kind of like a sourdough, crispy on the bottom, but still kind of got that Neapolitan vibe going with the leopardine and all that. Now I just kind of go for like those super bright, fresh looking pies. This bake's come along really good, up to about 2 minutes. Oh, look at that. I think I'm gonna go look at that side. Looks like it needs a little bit more. Get it closer to the flame. So you can just kind of work it. I'm just using, this is the Ooni 12-inch perforated peel. You know, it's rad for loading the smaller pies if you got the smaller Koda. But for the 16, I've been using the fatty, not the perf one, unfortunately. But, you know, these are actually really good to load the pies. I'm just using a turning peel, though. All right, we're at 223. Oh, a little bit of, looks like we're maybe getting dark there. All right, I'm liking that, picking that up. That bottom's feeling really good. I'm just gonna kind of let it sit here at the entrance to the oven. That little back right corner there, that's your spot to crisp up the bottom of the dough. And, you know, just like sometimes I don't like raw dough or just like a completely flop slice. I like to get it kind of crispy. Look at, see that side's looking a little dark. So just turning it. There we go, finish that side, because my stretcher's pretty good, but the one side is a little fattier, so make sure that bakes totally through. We're up to 302. I'm gonna pull this thing. This is looking pretty good to me. Check that bottom, nice and brown, looking good. All right, 312. All right, I'm gonna pull this thing before it gets too dark. Look at that, looking really good. That bacon crisp up, but the mozz is super just kind of clean looking with that green freshies. Looking pretty bomb. Put this onto the rack, let it hang out. I like to do at least like 20 seconds, but you know, up to a minute or something. Let that crust set, keep it crispy. I'm gonna hit this with some fresh chives, another bit of salt and pepper. I think I'd do a little bit of drizzle of hazelnut oil on this one, but use what you have on hand. I thought that would just be a fun one. Let's let this rest, slice it up, and give it a taste. It looks pretty good. The leopardine, pretty bomb. This pizza's looking pretty good. Pretty stoked on the bake on this one. And the vibe overall of this pie is looking really fresh. Baked up really nice. I was about 3.5 minutes in the oven on the Ooni Koda 16. Deck temp was about 850 when I loaded up. Got the leopardine looking really good and nice and brown. This is the super fresh spring vibe pie. Hit it with on the base, the bacon fat layer, because you know, favas and bacon, that's a really good combo. Layered it up with some shallots and garlic. Then hit it with the fresh mozzarella, the fresh mozz, and some parm, the Reggiano, the Heady's OG. And then we got the fava beans, that's the star of the show here, along with some fresh cherry tomatoes. Keep it bright, get that rainbow, that color in there. And then also the bacon, oh, some smoky bacon in there, super bomb. I finished it off with chives, a little salt and pepper, drizzle of hazelnut oil if you have it, or just use olive oil, whatever you have. Looking really good. Let's pick this thing up and give it a taste. I think I'm gonna go with this one. It looks pretty good, nice coloring on there. Let's see how it picks up. Oh, I'm just hearing the crunch of a little cheese pull. Look at that. I'm pretty stoked on that. If you can pick it up, that's the kind of pizza I want. I don't want it slopping down onto my plate, making a big mess, cooked through, a little bit crispy, a little bit crunchy with that bomb sourdough, little bit of flavor coming in from that, but overall the dough so heady. Get this thing in the mouth. Oh my God. Oh wow. Really stoked on where this pizza is at today. This one came out way into this. That flavor with that bacon and the favas, I mean, that's just like all-timer in there. I mean, that's a classic combo. I figured how could you go wrong with that? Those fresh tomatoes are keeping it bright. And that layer of bacon fat on the bottom is just introducing the smoky flavors that really just make this thing. This is like, I'm into it. Got some stuff falling off, but you know, you just pick it up, put it on the pie. I got the recipe on my blog, santabarbarabaker.com. Hope you guys liked, or hey, if you enjoyed it, like and subscribe. Appreciate all the support. I got more recipes coming on the way. Look at that cheese dangling off. But I hope everybody's making or eating lots of pizza, or at least thinking about it. One love. Oh, look at this thing, so good.